بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد النبي العالمين الذي اسمه مكتوب في الإنجيل والتوراة. أما بعد، قد قال الله عز وجل في كتابه العزيز بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحن أولياؤكم في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة ولكم فيها ما تشتهي أنفسكم ولكم فيها ما تدعون نزلا من غفور رحيم. وقال جل وعلا في مقام آخر فانظر كيف كان عاقبة أمرهم. وقال جل وعلا في مقام آخر يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إنكم تموتون كما تحيون وتبعثون كما تستيقظون، أو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Let me preface our short discussion today by saying that this is the first time I have spoken in a public gathering since the leaving of my dear brother from this world, rahimahullah. So I don't plan to give a very lengthy talk or a khutbah, but more so have a reminder that can perhaps benefit all of us, not limited to the topic of my dear brother, but inclusive of it, inshallah. Dear brothers and students, anything that we do in life, the success and failure of it is dependent upon how it ends. The success and failure of school is based upon how you scored on your exam and how you finished the year. The success and failure of a business is based upon the yearly reports. No success, no failure is anecdotal. No one is deemed successful based on their anecdotes of life. Because if that was the case, then all of us would be successful businessmen. And all of us would be successful in whatever we do in life. It's based on how it finishes, how it ends. How does it finish? The winner of the race is not decided by who started first. It's decided by who touched the finish line first. Who finished the race first. If the fragile and temporal success of the things that we do in life are dependent upon how things finish, then what could be said about the ultimate success of this life and leaving this world? It's based upon how it finishes. Endings and how you finish is in no means coincidental. We don't believe in coincidence. If you won in the race, it's most probably because you had a good start. If you had a good mark on your exam, it's also because you were doing good the entire year. The endings are not coincidental. They're also designed. So our responsibility while we live in this very temporal and fragile life is, how do we ensure that we will have a good ending? How do we ensure that when we leave this world, within the flash of an eye, within the blink of an eye, the flash of a light, when I depart from this web of difficulties of life, which we call life, will I be ready? Will I be prepared? Will I be glad? Will I be waiting? Will I be scared? Will I be anxious? Will I be fearful? Those that prepare for those endings before they even leave this world Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows them to understand and believe. لا خوف عليكم ولا أنتم تحزنون. Don't be anxious. Don't be scared. Don't be afraid. Because where you're about to go is far more meaningful than the place you came from. It's far more enjoyable, has a larger population. So don't be afraid. And when individuals depart from this temporal life that we have, and they're afraid simply because they never received that glad tidings of just be at ease, how do we ensure that we will leave in a manner that the angels will also give us that beautiful glad tidings of be at ease? When a child is struggling, the mother's pat on the back means the world to them. When a student is struggling, the teacher's look and his love means the world. When we're leaving the world and we're struggling, the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the angels being kind to us mean everything. It's not coincidental. إِنَّكُمْ تَمُوتُونَ كَمَا تَحْيُونَ. Prophet ﷺ says that you will leave the world as you lived. Don't start a habit in life. Don't start a habit in life that you're not comfortable doing while leaving the world. Don't do something as your last act of the day if you're not comfortable meeting Allah as that being your last act of the day. Don't immerse yourself in something or an act that if you were to meet Allah immersed in that act, you would be uncomfortable to meet Allah. Imagine you getting married. In the day of your marriage, your wife or your husband sees you doing that habit that they never thought you had, and they break off the marriage. Imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bringing us back, and in the time that He's bringing us back, it's something that we're doing that He's like, what? How is He doing that to me? How is He going to approach us? How will He meet us? It's not coincidental. My dear brother, rahimahullah, did not leave this world through a means of coincidence. He left this world by doing that which he did every single day. People always ask, how do I leave the world reading the Quran? How do I leave the world doing sajda? How do I leave the world giving people love? How do I leave the world with a smile? How do I leave the world with my parents happy with me? It is not coincidental. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't just happen. It happens because we dedicated our life completely engulfed in that act. If we want to leave reading Quran, then we must be opening the Quran every single day of our life. If we want to leave praying, then there cannot be a day in our life that we miss a salah. If we want to leave with our parents happy with us, there can't be a moment in our life where our mother is crying because of us, or our father is displeased due to us. There cannot be a moment where we stop doing the things that we want to leave the world doing. When Uthman radiallahu anhu left this world, he was cornered and boycotted by the entire community, despite being the Khalifa. He was locked inside of his home for 40 days with very scarce and limited provisions that were being given to him. For 3 days, they say he was not given water, no food. So around the time of Asr, his eyes closed while he is reading the Quran. And as he's reading the Quran, his eyes close and he falls asleep for a moment. We fall asleep using our phone. We fall asleep watching movies. fall asleep listening to songs. How many of us can say we fell asleep in the Quran? How many? How many of us can say we fell asleep forgiving people and reading du'as? How many of us can say that the last thing that we did before falling asleep every single night with consistency was reciting the du'as? How many times does the phone fall on my face when I'm sleeping? How many times? These people would fall asleep doing good. And as he fell asleep, the Prophet ﷺ comes in his dream. And Uthman is sitting down, and the Prophet ﷺ is approaching him with Abu Bakr on his right and Umar on his left, anhuma. And he embraces him and he picks him up. He hugs him, he kisses him on the forehead. And he says, Ya Uthman, ma baluk? What's going on with you? How's your life been? And then he asks, Hal mana'uka min ta'am? Have my people prevented you from eating food? Like you don't have food in life anymore because they've locked you up? He says, Ya Rasulullah, bala, I don't have food anymore. He says, Hal mana'uka min sharab? Did they prevent you from even drinking water, the most essential necessity of life? They've taken water away from you. If it wasn't for you, the city of Medina would not be blessed with sweet water because you were the one that financed the entire water system of Medina. And they don't give you water? Yeah. So Uthman, هل منعوك أن تصلي في مسجدي هذا? Man, the masjid that you financed, are you not allowed to pray within it anymore? Because he wasn't allowed to leave his house to even pray in the masjid. Yeah, I can't even pray in the masjid. For us, that may seem very feeble and trivial. But for people like that, that was their life, praying in the masjid. Then the Prophet ﷺ wipes his tears from his face in the dream. And he says to him, Oh Uthman, سوف تفطر معنا هذه الليلة. Today you will break your fast with me in Abu Bakr or tonight. This is the time of Asr. Uthman radiallahu anhu wakes up and he's tearing in his dream and he's tearing in real life. He wipes his face and he starts to smile. His beloved wife Naila radiallahu anha looks at him and she says, how strange. One moment you're weeping, the next moment you're smiling. He says, I was weeping due to the struggles of this life and due to the pain that I am on a daily basis experiencing. And I saw my beloved in my dream and he told me that I am soon leaving. And I smiled knowing that I'm leaving. It was only a few moments later when they broke open his house from the back door and a wretched man by the name of Saudan came and he hit him across the head and his blood in his head gushed out blood and it fell upon the Quran and he left the world. And where the blood fell was a specific ayah which recited, فَسَيَكْفِيكَهُمُ اللَّهُ. Is Allah not sufficient enough for you to deal with them? Allah is enough. وَكَفَى بِرَبِّكَ وَكِيلًا. That wasn't a coincidence. That was because he would finish one Quran in one day. It wasn't a coincidence that he left this world reading Quran. It was not a coincidence that our dear brother left this world serving the students of our school. It was not a coincidence that our dear brother left this world serving his beloved mother that he loved more than anything else in this world. It wasn't by coincidence that his life was taken without him going through any difficulty, because he left this world on instant contact. It was because he never caused difficulty to anyone else. When I reached the scene at 2:15 on Monday, October 5th, and I was told by the detectives and the cops, when they saw me wearing my clothes of Sunnah that has so much brilliance within it, and they noticed that I was his brother, not because of how I looked, but because of how I dressed. because of the beard on my chin that resembles our Habib, because the turban on my head, because it resembles my Prophet and our Prophet. What are we recognized by? Because on the Day of Judgment, we don't have any ID from the Michigan state that says that I'm a Michigan resident. Our ID is our sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, where from a distance he will tell the angels, bring that man to me, because I can tell that he will love me. And I can tell that he will live with my sunnah in his life. Bring him to me. What are we identified through? Is it the fact that I have a badge that says I work for Henry Ford? Is it a badge that says that I work for Ascension? Is it a badge that says I'm a student in the University of Michigan? Or is it a badge that says I'm an ummati of the Prophet ﷺ? That's my badge. Recognize me through my clothes. He said, I noticed your brother was wearing the same thing. Imagine the happiness of our Prophet ﷺ when he sees us returning to him, trying to imitate every inch of his life. Would he not love us? And he said to me, to make this tragedy a little easier for you, let me let you know, brother, that your brother left on instant contact. Instant contact. There was no pain. Indeed, food has lost its taste. Speaking has lost its brilliance. Friendship has lost purpose. But life has not lost purpose, because we're here to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're here to make the Prophet happy. We're here to live every moment in a manner that we're ready to leave doing what we are doing. You don't leave by coincidence. How to ensure a good ending, dear brothers? A good ending is only ensured by making every single day an image of what you want your last day to be. Making every single day a reflection of how you want to leave the world. Abu Bakr was the greatest man the world has seen, radiallahu anhu, after the prophets. And on a daily basis he would recite this dua of Allahumma ja'al khayra ayyami yawma alqaka fik. Oh Allah, make the best day of my life the day that I am able to meet you. Is it really worth it to be immersed in interest? Is it really worth it to be immersed in a job that pays me haram? Is it really worth it to be immersed in sins on a daily basis? Is it really worth it to be lying to my spouse and my children? Is it really worth it to backbite about people just because of where they're from? Is it really worth it to backbite about someone because they're from Karachi and I'm from Lahore and they're from Sylhet and I'm from Dhaka and they're from Syria and I'm from Egypt? Is it really worth it? Imagine our last conversation being a conversation about backbiting. Is it really worth it to be jealous of people? The only person I'm jealous of right now is a person that leaves the world in a manner that Allah is happy. Is it really worth it to break the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in an habitual way? We all sin, but making it a habit, we can leave our world, we can leave the world doing it. My brother, rahimahullah, was a man of great virtue. So he was taken with virtue. Never in his life do I remember him even knowing the title of a song. Forget a song. He would tell his friends, don't ever listen to songs while driving. Because what if you die while you're driving? What if you leave the world? So the reminder isn't to make us feel like we're dying tomorrow. The reminder is to make us realize that life has so much purpose beyond the limitations of this life, beyond the realm of what we see. We normally see purpose because we see the destination. But true purpose of this life is beyond the shackles of this world. We don't live here without enjoyment. We live here with enjoyment so that we can enjoy in the akhirah. We live here with purpose because we have purpose in the akhirah. فَحَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا وَأَنَّكُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَا تُرْجَعُونَ. Allah says, don't live in this life in a manner that you have no purpose. You know, only that employee can do good at a job if he knows that the place that he's working is bigger than him and her. We can only live in this world and be successful if we know that we are living for a bigger purpose than ourselves, our family members, and our friends. We're living here for the entire ummah. And we want to live so that on the day of judgment, my Prophet, when he sees you and I, he smiles at us and he gives us that smile that he would give to the Sahabas. There is no smile in the world that will make us more fulfilled than seeing the smile of our Habib, where Aisha radiallahu anha would say, لَنَا شَمْسٌ وَلِلْآفَاقِ شَمْسٌ. The horizon has a sun, but I also have a sun in my house. And my sun is better than the sun of the horizon because my sun never sets. Dear brothers and students, that sun and light and brightness will never set and dim or diminish in our life as long as the sunnah of the Prophet is alive in our life. وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ. Allah says, وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَأَنْتَ فِيهِمْ. We will never punish a person as long as your sunnah is within them. That's all. Live with sunnah and hopefully leave this world in a manner that Allah is pleased with us. The way to please Allah at the end is to have habits in your life that nobody knows about that are good. And the way to displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to have habitual habits in our life that nobody knows about that are bad. The killer ingredient are secret sins. Killer ingredient are secret sins. And the one good deed that gets us across the bridge is the one that nobody knows about. So on a daily basis, I encourage everyone, do something in your day that nobody knows about. Not even your own spouse, your children. One good deed. It may be charity, it may be praying 2 raka'ah nafil for tahajjud, it may be doing dhikr while no one is watching. But if everyone is always watching our deeds, then the sincerity naturally goes down. Do something on a daily basis that nobody knows about. Only you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will be baffled and surprised about how many stories we've heard about my dear brother rahimahullah that we never knew about. We never knew about. I, being his brother only 3 years apart from him, sleeping on the same bed with him for 24 years of my life, only till 6 months ago when I got married. Slept in the same bed. Ate from the same plate. Played in the same court. Taught in the same rooms. There were things that I didn't know about. And that's what sincerity is all about. Ensuring a good ending means doing something that nobody knows about. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us to live a life that Allah is pleased with. And no consolation, no words can ever fill up the pain and the gaps in my heart or our hearts. But what can fill up the gaps is us praying salat again. Is us stopping those things that we were doing for so long. Is us also prioritizing deen. Prioritizing deen.